yeah, don't go too fast. Like basics are the most important. Like the basics are basically the product research, the basics of copywriting, understanding your customer, the conversion rates, optimization principles, everything, and then you can like go into techniques that are gonna get you to scale. You know.
You're listening to Ecommerce, a Debutify podcast, your resource for one-of-a-kind insights into the world of e-commerce and business in the modern age. This is Joseph. I'll be presenting a wealth of industry knowledge from interviews with successful business people and our own state-of-the-art research. Your time is valuable, so let's go. Florian Tep, it is good to have you here on Ecommerce. How are you doing this evening? How are you feeling?
Hi, Joseph. I'm great. How are
Awesome.
you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's 10 p.m. for you, 10 a.m. for me. So there's a distinct change in, you've had like your full day energy. I just had my breakfast energy, and so we're looking to meet in the middle. Okay. Well, we're gonna get into like the e-commerce good stuff, but I'm dying to know for our video audience, what is it that you have like wrapped up in the back there? It looks like you've put a tarp over a car or something.
What do you mean?
In behind you, I can't. Sorry, yeah, it looks like
Like
it's
a drawing, like
Oh, that's art?
I don't know. Yeah, that's art.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
What
thought
did you
those were
think it
your
was?
windows, and there's like, I don't know, like you put a tarp over your car or something. I'm sorry, I was just like, I was in
It's just art.
I was in the uncanny valley, and I thought I was looking to your outside for it's anyways because it's 10 p.m. right, and it's dark. Okay, mystery solved. All right, so. Thank you for putting up with me there, audience, and of course to our guests. So let's jump into our opening question. Florian, let us know, what do you do? What are you up to these days?
So I started ecom like 4 years ago. So actually my first project. So how I got into ecom. So like I was a dancer before, like teaching a dance that is called Kizomba. Like I was teaching internationally this dance, and my first like entrepreneurial project was to create a platform to teach people how to dance online. You know. So I moved to Cambodia to work on this project. It didn't work. And then I was like, okay, there is no way for me to get back to France, try to find a 9 to 5 and something like that. So I found out dropshipping. I think it was a YouTube video, YouTube ads, something like that, about dropshipping e-commerce. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then I bought a course and I was like, okay, here we go, you know. And it took me 8 months to break through, crack the code. And since then I've been like, working on my business, traveling the world. Now I live in Bali, and things have been pretty good. You know?
So to be as prepped for this as I could, I listened to another interview you had done. Actually, it wasn't too long ago either. It was back in April with Golden Stream Media, and there was a part of your story that stuck out to me about how you're over that 8-month period. I suppose it was there wasn't. It was slow, and oh my God, where did this money come from? And like it just kind of like hit all at once. So I'd like to expand on that experience of like, why I would have expected it would be more like a gradual increase where it goes like, the 3-figure range to make its way to 4-figure then 5-figure. So I would like to know a little bit more about like the evolution of how, your experience went from your starting point to your breakthrough point.
Yeah, I think it was more exponential than linear. And I was talking to a lot of different friends who are also entrepreneurs, and they had the same experience where nothing is working at first. And so it's not like you passed like, okay, 500 day and then 1K and 2K and so on. It just went literally from 0 to like 1K to 6K to more like 6-figure months in just like a matter of like 6 weeks. And I think it was like an accumulation because, I've been working a lot for this 8 months, hustling. And then at some point it just like everything falls into place. And also I had a good, I remember I was coached by 2 people at the time who were pretty good at what they were teaching. And it just blew up, once you understand, like once you have the good information, because also the problem is that when I started, I had like this shiny object syndrome. I think it's common for every beginner getting started, where you just try to look the best technique, the best secret, watching a lot of different courses, a lot of videos, and trying to find like the secret, but the secret is actually to be focused, like find one course, one guy who is legit that you follow, apply his method and not being distracted until you get results. And if it's not working, then just switch, find another guy who you think is legit about e-com and follow his method until you get results. And that's when I started to focus mainly on like those in one method, and it started to blow up.
So, I mean, on the one hand, especially for our audience, many of whom are looking to get to that breakthrough point, it's encouraging to hear that story, but it can also be intimidating too. So, what were some of the challenges that you had ran into when your growth had started hitting an exponential rate?
So the first problem I think that everyone has is the blocks. Facebook blocking you. You have cash flow issues. So I had to borrow money, I remember, from my family to scale, because like if not, I wouldn't scale as fast as I wanted to. And of course, like, so you also discover like other problems, like with suppliers, and then you need to hire a team to handle, like, because you're doing volume, so you need to hire people. So it's like you have so much to learn on the go. But it's also very fulfilling, because things are working and you are motivated. You're like, okay, I just have to. You have problems and find solutions. So to me, that wasn't the worst part. The worst part is like this period of like doubt, where you're working, and nothing is working, and you're doubting about yourself. You have your family telling you like, "Oh, are you sure? Like what you're doing is good." They don't believe much on what you're doing, and to me, that was the hardest part.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's interesting. But we do tend to talk about like what people's with their family and their peers are saying. Although it doesn't. I don't know. I guess I haven't broached the subject lately. But I guess one thing I'm wondering is like what your family was trying to encourage you to do, because prior to this, you were dancing, and in some parts of the world, you would have the opposite, where you have somebody say, maybe instead of pursuing dancing, maybe you should start your own business. And so I don't know if that's what they were doing here. It would have been a role reversal, where it says, well, instead of pursuing your business, maybe you should get back to dancing.
So that's the thing. So my parents are, my background is Asian. Like my parents are from Cambodia, and they moved to France like because of the war, and they didn't have the chance to get to do like to study, in college or university. And so that's why they were pushing. Once me and my brother were born in France, they were pushing us to do good at school, have the best grades, the best attend the best school, so that we can have like the best jobs. And so the road they had in mind was like, okay, do study for like 5 years, get your master, and then master from a big school. One of the best French school, and then find a job in a big corporate. That was their definition of the success, And on the side, so I had my studies, and I was dancing on the side. I started to make money there, and then I told them about this project because I explained them, I think there's a lot of money to make. There was no right now it's very trendy to have like online courses and stuff, and especially since the COVID. But when I got started, there was nothing. 5 years ago, nothing on the market. So it was a blue ocean. And if I would have like executed things properly, if I had the experience that I have now, and I launched it like back in 2016, I would have crushed it for sure. But I didn't have the experience, so it didn't work. And then my parents were like, maybe you should find a job or something. Like you have a master degree, you're gonna lose. It's gonna be useless if you don't find a job. And then I was like, no, I don't want to do it. I was just, the good thing is that we're not living in the same country. I was in Cambodia, they were in France. And then when I came back to France, I kind of like, my mom gave me a deadline. I said, okay, no, I give my mom a deadline. Actually, it's me who did it. Okay. Give me 3 months to make it work until the end of the year. If it's not, then I'm going to find a job. And once you have 3 months, you have this like pressure deadline. You're like, fuck, I got to make it work if I want to have the life of my dream. And you hustle, and it just blew up 1 month after.
Yeah. I mean, I think that pressure it's one of the most common threads that I've identified with people that I talk to. I once in a while we talk to somebody, they're doing well financially, and then they just think, you know what, I'm just going to do this anyways. It just doesn't come up as often. What comes up as often is that e-commerce and entrepreneurship, to speak more broadly, is a pathway for people to become free and to take control of their own lifestyles. They're living the life that they think is the best opportunity for themselves, but also really to make a significant change in the world as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a few. There's a few things that that cropped up as I'm hearing you describe this story. I kind of want to get into a little bit more of the background, but I want to make sure that it's like a relevant question. So, with you did go through. I understand it was business school, correct?
Yeah.
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 So I do talk to people, like we do get people who they've gone through business school and the opinions of it vary. Some people say, well, everything I learned, I could have just, I learned online. I think one of the more positive takeaways that I had that I can recall more recently is that two things. One is that when you're learning, the professor, they're giving you their lecture, but what's unique is the students have the ability to participate and to have maybe the professor explains things in a certain way that make it easy for them to understand, which I think increases the value far more than just checking out a YouTube video. And then, of course, there's your peers working alongside building a good work ethic. So what are some of the positive, and if you feel like it, what are some of the negative things that stuck out to you from your business education that had come with you as you enter into your entrepreneurship?
So I think the biggest, the biggest takeaway, the positive, the fact that I was able to have to do an internship in New York. So I was living in New York for a year. It was my first experience, like living abroad. Working abroad. It was I really loved that year. It was very good. And that's also how I started to break through in dancing, because from the start I was dancing. It was not so common in the US, so I had like a very good level for the US compared to France, where I was okay, but not like one of the best. So it opened me a lot of doors while I started to teach all over the US, to teach, the dancing. And I mean, it was kind of like my first entrepreneurial journey. I was trying to, make my name so I was posting videos, trying to see how I could promote myself the best and everything. And that was really a great experience. And also, like, I managed to get a social security number that year, because I worked in the US. And now I still use this social security number thanks to in my business, because I incorporated my companies in the US. And it's super useful, I didn't have to go through like get an ITAN and tax number and everything. I can use my social, and it's super useful for the business. And so that's the biggest takeaway. And also was able to travel to improve my English, because I was traveling, like, also did like a year abroad in Poland to as an exchange student. And like, of course the say what I learned in class was pretty useless. It's like outdated, like marketing stuff. But overall, I don't regret the experience, because I wouldn't be where I am right now if I wouldn't do it. So usually I don't have regrets about things in life, because even bad things, bad failures and everything, like, got me to be who I am today.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I get asked that once in a while. Says, Joseph, do you have any regrets? And just like, like 8. Pretty good average, overall. I don't know. But I also would say, what time would I rather go back to? And I say, well, no, there's no time I would rather be than right now, because each day it has the potential to be the best day of my life, because it has the advantage of every other day that came before it. So yeah, it's helpful to have a positive spin on that. And I got to say, like, every time you answer a question, you bring up a new place that you've been to, Poland, New York. You're in Bali right now. We're back to Cambodia and France. I would imagine that going to New York was probably the most significant change in worldview. A pretty significant culture shock to go from where you were to there. So I just want to touch on that too, because this is just fascinating to me. I'm not much of a traveler. I was doing the social distancing thing even before the lockdown. I just spend most of my time in my apartment. Okay. So I like to hear about, like, what was maybe the biggest culture shock that you had encountered? Like, what was the most significant change that you had perceived, maybe in like the way somebody had treated you, or even the way a business was run, or what was on TV, or just like what really stuck out to you in that way?
So when I was in New York, I didn't do business. I was on an internship, so I was like an employee. Like, I was never like, I never seen myself as an entrepreneur at the time. My goal was to, like, find a job in a big corporate. And I was like, oh my God, I have this internship in New York on my resume. it's going to be so good when I'm going to apply to jobs later. It's a very nice experience. And yeah, the cultural shock was, I don't know, it's the American culture is so different. What I love with American people are they're really like go-getter. They don't think the French people, they think too much. They are very perfectionist. They complain a lot and they like overthink too much instead of just taking action. And while the American people, like, for example, they hear about dropshipping, like you can see the difference in like in ecom group dropshipping, like the French groups, people are asking like basic questions like, oh, should I open my company, do this? Like they want to have everything perfect before they start. And in the US market, they're like, okay, guys, like I want to get started. How do I get started with testing product and like the most important like things, how to make money? While the French people, they are too proper in the mindset. I think that's the biggest difference I've seen in the approach of business for especially for entrepreneurs.
Well, in the United States is still the frontier of the whole planet. People come to the U.S. from all over the world because it is a little bit riskier to be in the U.S. for any number of reasons, many of which get political. But it is also the place for people to really like get a grasp on their own life. I mean, even in Canada, which I consider is basically the United States wearing a helmet, I'm still marketing to the U.S. anyways, so. Even if I don't go to the US directly, it's still involved in my ability to, become freer than I am now. So that makes a lot of sense, but I haven't been to France, so I can't speak to any particular experience there. But getting back to some of the some questions that I have regarding your e-commerce experience. So once in a while, shiny object syndrome comes up, and I guess what I want to know more about is the line between, realizing that something does needs to be changed or upgraded, or maybe because something might become outdated, versus working on something that's fine, productive, but then being attracted to a shine, like you say, a shiny object or an attractive bauble. So does this question make sense? Like, how do we know when we actually should find something to change or something new, if something is going wrong or it's not relevant, versus just, I don't know, being addicted to something new?
It's a very good question.
Thank you. I worked hard on it.
So I would say, because the thing is, since I'm already advanced in ecom, I can feel it. But as a beginner, when you get started, it's more difficult because you're new, you don't know like if what you're doing is right, if you're following the correct information, because there's so many like courses and gurus out there. Like some of them are legit, some of them are not. And when you're a beginner, you don't know. So, I would say I would reply to this question as both beginner and advanced. As a beginner, you want to taste it to the T. So you want to find a course, of course, where you can like talk to other people and see like if the people in the group have results, if they following exactly the structure. If no one gets results in the group, there's something sketchy. Because like in my group, for example, in my course, like, so the students, they love to share their wins and success, and and then it gives like some, how to say, some hope to the new people. Like, oh, those guys, they made it, I can make it too. And like if you've been testing to the T something for like 1 month, 2 months, and you don't see any progress, it's not going anywhere, and you see that no one is progressing in the group, then I think something is off, and maybe it's time for a change. But in general, so I start to look at, as an advanced person, I start to look at things when I feel I'm stagnating. So like either I don't manage to break like past the mark, for example, 10K day or like 15K day, whatever. And I'm like, shit, I don't manage to pass that mark. I've tested a lot of things, so maybe it's time to look for different information to break that plateau. Or if I feel like I'm stagnating and I need some change in the business, like things are working well, but like I feel like I'm getting in some kind of like comfort zone, and I'm like, I don't like that, like, because comfort zone is the enemy of progress, of improvement. And I feel like, okay, it's time to dive into something new so that I can like get more stimulated. And that's what I would say. Is there anything else I can add to that? Yeah, I mean, when you get advanced, you will feel it, like when you're stagnating and you see, or you see other people who are like um, crushing it. And of course, super important to master something first before you dive into the next thing. So for example, master Facebook ads first before you get into Google or Pinterest ads or Snapchat ads, because it's going to be too confusing if you don't master yet one platform and try to learn a lot of things at the same time.
The other question that I wanted to follow up with you, you also answered in the midst of that, which is how to go about vetting a course, and especially for a beginner, trying to understand is this course legit, or did I just dump a bunch of money for a very hard lesson learned? And your answer is, what are your peers saying? If people are succeeding and they're sharing their success and they're legitimizing it, on the ground level, then that adds to a great deal of, and frankly, maybe they crack the code anyways on their own individually. So you just talk to them, and next thing you know, the students are helping each other out anyways. So that also, I think for a lot of people is a really important takeaway, is a course can be, if let's just say, God forbid, it's illegitimate and it's a scam, by being isolated and not communicating with others, that's where you'll know that's where you're definitely going to get got. Versus participating in the community, I think the presence of a community alone should put it in the right direction. But on top of that, are people actually making tangible gains? That's a huge takeaway, and I think I would strongly consider that for myself, were I to sign up for a course. Luckily, I'm in a unique position. I get lots of people to interview, so I kind of like on my own little journey here. You're doing, if I'm understanding correctly, you also have your own course too. Am I right?
Yeah, I have a course in French. So when I started to get success in e-com, to me, the next step was to teach it, because usually that's what I did for dancing. I started to get good at dancing, and I was like, okay, I want to teach it now. It's like, to me, I love to share with people. And I was thinking, okay, should I go on the English market or French market? And I was checking what they were doing on the French market and English market. A lot of competition on the English market. And in the French market, there are some values, some knowledge bombs that I could bring that none of my competitors were sharing. I was like, okay, this is where I can differentiate myself. So yeah, I just opened my Facebook group, and my goal was to share as much value as I can for free, but like not holding back on the value, like resharing like super golden nuggets and for free. And then like people just opened my group. I did what I call the knowledge bomb challenge, where every day I was posting a golden nugget, either a video or a post with a lot of value. So every day for 30 days. And I also was posting those value posts in different Facebook groups. And then a lot of people were liking it. One of my posts went viral in one of the group. It had like 250 likes and like 100 comments, And then from there, I just like DM'd all the people who liked the post to join my group. And then like from there, they see, oh my God, this guy is the real deal. He's showing so much value for free. No one is doing it on the French market. So they talk to their friends, and there's more and more people join the group. And in 1 month, I grew the group to like 500 members. And then I launched a beta version of my course, and I said, okay, I need 10 beta testers that I can like help to get results with. And from there, I will do like a full launch from there. And like, so I took 10 people, like I sold out in 24 hours. The 10 people, because I shared so much value for free that they were like, oh man, like if this guy is sharing that type of value for free, what is it gonna be when I'm gonna pay for? And then like out of the 10 people, I think you have 6 or 7 people who crossed 6 figures, 2 people who crossed 7 figures, so like the beta group was like, I also selected, I made like some selection entry questions, to make sure I was only getting like super motivated people and with the good mindset, because I really wanted to get them results, because they would be like my testimonials, and my proof of results basically. And then from there, I just like snowballed, because more people like heard about like the results I was getting from my students, and they joined. And yeah, and then I started to scale with ads, and yeah, now like I have around like 300 people in my course. And I grew my public group to 6.5K people.
And this is the Dropship Heroes group, if my research.
This one, yeah. So yeah, if you speak French, you listen to the podcast, you speak French, just go. Even if you don't, I have some of my friends actually who don't speak English, but who don't speak French. But I told them, just join the group, check the units, and you can use Google the translate options from Facebook to see what I'm talking about, because there's a lot of things you can learn as well from there.
Mm-hmm. Now, Are you is your group still primarily marketing to the U.S., or are you using the French speaking language to your advantage? Are you marketing? Are you trying to get into I don't know exactly what level, like how effective or how worthwhile it might be in the French market, but is what how much of it is in that realm?
The way I'm doing dropshipping, that's what kind of also made me different on the French market, is I'm not selling neither on the French market, neither on the US market.
Okay.
You know, I have this strategy that I call like unsaturated markets, where I'm gonna find big winners, because US and French has become fucking saturated. So much competition. Even the French market wasn't saturated maybe like 3 years ago, and then some guys came in and they before me, and they had like they scaled the shit out of their course, like, you know, and dropshipping became super popular in France. So it became like super saturated. US same. So I was like, okay, like I discovered those unsaturated markets a little bit by accident, because my ex was like from Norway, and I was like, she's Norwegian, let's try this market and see how it goes. And it was a fucking gold mine. Like we scaled to over like, so I remember like 1 week after launching the store, we were scaling to 4K per day with for 50% profit just on the small market as Norway. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? This is like a gold mine. And we tested 2 products maybe, you know, and then we tested like 2 or 3 more products, and we scaled to over 200K in 3 months with like 40% profit, like numbers that I've never seen on the US market or French market. And I was like, wow. And then I was like, okay, so it's Norway is working the same. Let's try the other countries. Let's try Denmark, Sweden, Germany, like all these European countries, like translating stores so that people think they're buying from local store, and like they taking those best sellers that we saw on the French and US market. And if no one scaled it on those unsaturated markets, then it's a blue ocean for us. And that's basically how I did dropshipping for the past few years, only doing those. So sometimes I would like find a good product on those markets, and I would launch it on the US, the French market, and it would still work, you know. But French and US are not my primary markets to go for. You know, it's too saturated.
Well, I mean, yeah, the US, I agree with. French, I didn't know about. So, but I hear you on that. So one thing this crossed my mind earlier, because you were just comparing, you know, the cultural difference between the more, I guess, proactive U.S. entrepreneurs versus, I guess, the more reserved, methodical French market. Did you or French speakers, and were you noticing anything like that with the people who had been reaching out to you to work in the course? Like, were they a little more slower to the take, and you had to kind of condition them to be more like, you know, more like the Americans?
Yeah. So basically, like the way, because of how I am, I think I attracted students that had this more go-getter personality. You know, like they don't want to be perfectionists; they just want to take action and execute fast and get results. And I think, yeah, people, like, they can identify this trait in me, and they're like, oh, I like this guy, I like the way he thinks, I like how the way he does it. And then they want to join my course, you know, and because they have the same kind of mindset. And I remember like at some point when we were like around 180 students, I had over 90 students that crossed the 6-figure mark out of 100. So I had a 50% of people of my course that reached 6 figures in sales. It was like pretty impressive. But yeah, it was only like from my organic traffic. But then when I started to scale with ads, then it's different, because you have a different quality. Like when you have like people coming for your group from your organic content, then they know who you are, they see your content, they see the value you add. When they come from the ads, the quality is not so. It's like people who like see the ads, they're like, oh my god, this is like my new opportunity, and they don't know what they're getting into, and they get into the course. The rest, it's super. Even if I'm giving super good information, it takes a lot of work, and then they give up, and then it's different.
Yeah, but there's an interesting insight there just about the difference between ads, which, I mean, it is a gamble with ads regardless, because you're always trying to reach out to as cold as you can justify. I mean, you want there to be some warmth, but the warmer they are, the more likely they're going to commit to something else anyways, versus the efficacy of organic marketing, which conveys more about what the experience will really be like. They get to know you a little bit better, they know what to expect, and they have an affinity for you, so they're more likely to then reach out and be more in line with how you would want to direct your students. So yeah, that makes sense. That checks out to me.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna I'm gonna veer off slightly just because I want to make sure I get this question. And this is a question I enjoy asking because a lot of people that I talk to, like such as yourself, have a distinct background. And I asked you, if there's any takeaways or anything that came with you in business. But I'm also wondering about your dance experience. Did and maybe it was I mean, I don't know how much the Kazimba will translate into selling product, but maybe about like your determination, mindset, habits. Did anything from your dance experience form into a skill set that came with you into e-commerce?
Yeah, definitely. So what I was doing when I was dancing, so I was obsessed. When I'm obsessed, I'm like really putting into all my soul into it, and it's the same for the business. And what I'm doing is I'm very good at picking up things and then like kind of like writing some kind of process. So like I have a Google Doc that explains exactly the way I dance. They're super like detailed in terms of technique, in terms of musicality, in terms of everything. And I don't think anyone else did that like in the dancing because it's. Oops, sorry, that was a mosquito.
Yeah.
And, yeah, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
But yeah, so I keep the same like mindset for the business where I would like always reassess everything that I'm doing, trying to get feedback from people. Like for the dancing, I was sending videos to some of my friends, and I would get the analysis for the business. Then I would I would launch some ads. I would analyze something. I would ask someone, "Hey man, like, can you check my ads quickly? Like, I have those numbers, not sure." And then have this thirst for knowledge. Like, put your ego aside and always be like, "No, I don't know." And even when you get advanced, and always have this like growing mindset where you can learn from anyone, whatever, even like from beginning. Sometimes I see my students, talking about stuff, and I learn a lot from my students because they discover new stuff, and it's not because I'm teaching them that like I have nothing to learn from them. So like this growth mindset that I had from dancing, I translated to the business, the passion, also the obsession, and the teaching also, like the way I was teaching dancing, because people say I'm very good at explaining complicated things into like in a simple terms and in a simple way. And that's what I did for the dancing for my students, and that's what I do also for ecom. That's what people love my content, because they say like, "Oh my god, it's just you made it so simple from the way you explain." And that's what they.
Yeah, like my dance experience is pretty limited. My girlfriend, she bought Just Dance on the PlayStation a couple months ago, and I got into it like crazy because as a gamer, I like the rhythm. I like trying to match some moves, and so it appealed to my competitive side. And what I noticed, and what I think this is true about instructing dance that can be conveyed into other areas as well, is that you got to build the muscle memory little by little. You learn the steps. People can't jump into it right away, being ready to take it on stage. Over time, the person becomes more comfortable doing the moves until to the point where it becomes second nature. And I think that's got to be true too about e-commerce too. You got to learn the steps little by little.
Yeah, don't go too fast. Like, basics are the most important. Like the basics are basically the product research, the basics of copywriting, understanding of customer, the conversion rates, optimization principles, everything, and then you can like go into techniques that are gonna get you to scale.
Exactly, because it's what I was thinking as well as asking about it very early on, about how it was slow, and then it just exponential, because everything clicks all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden all this training starts to pay off, and then you start to move more organically. Am I describing dancing or am I describing business? I'm trying to do both here. That's the point.
Yeah, it's super good. There is a lot of similarities in my journey in the dancing and in the business. It's because in dancing too, I was struggling a lot at first. And it became just exponential from some point where like everything clicked, and then when I started, so one of the things also is like, so when you start teaching something is when you start to remaster something. That's what I noticed. So when I started teaching my dance, like we took another level because I had time to break down what I'm doing, because I had to break it down to explain to my students. And the same for business. When I started to teach like ecom, I started to break down like my principles, the way I'm doing, into like simple things, simple processes and formulas, and I was like, wow, it works so well to explain this way. And my students, they loved it, and yeah, they got results pretty fast, And I'm always focusing on the foundations first. Foundation, as you said, first, and then like go into more advanced stuff.
So here's what what I'm wondering now. That question is wrapped up. I didn't have a follow up for it. I wish I did, but that's okay. So you were describing that U.S. Don't bother. Don't go over the saturated markets. It was the Scandinavian countries. I'm pretty sure that's Scandinavian, like Norway, Denmark.
Yeah.
So I mean, I myself right now, I've got my first a few skin cells in the game, and obviously it's still highly appealing to want to appeal to the U.S. and Canada, and it is more of a cultural thing, just because I think I know a little bit more about how to speak to people that I've absorbed their dialect, pretty much all my life. But so people in my position, what would be like the first couple of steps to consider selling into, these less saturated markets like the Scandinavian countries? I would imagine language is a barrier. I would still want to go to English speaking countries, but there's quite a few of those.
So basically, what you need to do is first like find products that are trendy. So basically, if you have big products that crushed it in the US that have a broad appeal, mass market product, you don't want to have something too niche, because those markets are super small. So if it's too niche, and you won't have enough customers to scale. But if you take, for example, some cleaning products or cat products or dogs products, like everyone in wherever they're in the world, they all have dogs, cats. They all need like cleaning products or kitchen products. So those are like pretty broad niches, or cosmetics or beauty. And what you want to do is find what's proven. So you either take what's trending right now, like what is being scaled. So you go to AdSpy or any other product research method, you see what's trending. And then you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can do some even scrap. I use this app is Happy Scrapper.
Happy Scrapper.
I'm using. Yeah. And I don't know if people are interested. You can I can put my link. I even have discount code for people who use it, and if they want to use it. And basically, this app, they can scrap any product on any Shopify store, plus the reviews. So basically, what I do is I just scrap. There's something that is working. I just translate it. So I find translated on Upwork, on Fiverr, mainly Upwork. I feel the quality is better on Upwork than Fiverr. So whatever language, Norwegian, Denmark, whatever. And then I just translate the whole store. So for example, for the terms of service and everything, either you pay someone to translate, or you find the dropshipping store on AdSpy who already sell to Norway or Denmark and so on. And you just scrap their legal pages, and you just change the name of your company, so that it takes time. And then later, just to test, then after, if you want to make things clear, have the legal pages more better, then you can hire someone to actually translate something clean. But at first, you don't want to waste too much time on that. You just want to test quickly. So you scrape. So either, like I said, product that worked very well last year or 2 years ago or 6 months ago, and then you just launch them. So you translate everything. Translate on Upwork. You also translate the ad copy, the creative. Sometimes I don't even I just take the same creative from the store because I want to test fast. I just launch it, see if it works. And then from there, if it works, then I just redo it. I redo my own content with either other YouTube videos, like making a mix of YouTube videos, or having some UGC content, finding influencers on Instagram and micro influencers, and ask them to do UGC. And then the testing method is pretty classic. So like ABO with for example, you can launch 10 ad sets with 10 different interests. Since the market is smaller, you would need to, for example, if you sell to Norway, it's going to be 5 million people. So you can start with audiences that are 200K people in the audience, just for the testing, and then better, of course, the broader the better. And see if it picks up, and then from there you can scale. And the thing is, with those Scandinavian market, they have a big purchasing power, so you can even price higher than. There are some products that I saw that were selling at some certain price in France or US, and I was like, okay, Norway, because I was in Norway, it's so fucking expensive, man. This country is nuts, in terms of cost of living. So I was like, okay, let's bump the price. Let's see. And it would convert at 10% commission rate with a higher price, so better margin, better profit, better commission rate. People are not so complaining as much in those countries than in US or France. It's like in the culture, they are more like, how do you say? They just don't complain. They don't raise the voice much compared to France.
I think they're, there's a word for it. I think they're content.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Even if they're not happy, they wouldn't like, be super loud about it. And basically find mass market. So if for people listening to the podcast, if you have something already working on the US market, French market, whatever, just take the same stuff that is proven for you, translate it, launch it on a new store that is fully translated to one of those markets. So Norway was translated, but now I think I sent too many people there, so it becomes more difficult, but it's still more easy than the French or US market to me. But Denmark, Sweden are super good. Also, like if you want to do English market, you can do UK. So basically, like have a store like in British pounds, and it will convert. If you sell only to UK, and it will convert way better than if you have a store in USD. So some of my students are crushing to the UK market. It's less competitive than the US. And you need to, of course, have the language translated plus the currency in the local market. So you just Google it and see what's. And if you're on Shopify, so let's say you already have a store in USD, you want to change the currency to, for example, the Danish krone, like the currency in Denmark, but you already had some sales on the store. All you need to do is contact the Shopify support, and they will make the change for you, so that you can do it. And then it's a matter of testing a lot of products. So general stores work super well on those markets. But you can do also like niche store, one product store. I did it too. It works. Most important is like taking something that is proven and just relaunching it, just translate it. That's the idea.
And then what about logistics? Are there particular 3PLs that are more effective to servicing those parts of the world?
So it's basically the same. It depends on the country, but like you have the same one that you can use to do it, like Unexpress, 4PX, ePacket. If you're testing the product, you can use AliExpress standard shipping at first, but of course it's better to move to an agent or supplier later when you scale. But yeah, you can have delivery depending on the country, like 7 days to 2 weeks. Pretty fast. It's pretty, from China. It's pretty easy to send to those markets.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have even more, like, because I just talked about Scandinavia, but I have students crushing to Germany, others like is crushing to Spain. Like Spain, I never managed to make anything work there. Like a lot of like I took cart, but not so much sales. But some of my students made some good numbers there. I managed to scale some products to Portugal. Some of my friends are selling to Japan, to Romania. And also what you need to do is also acquire the local payment processor, because for example, in Germany, like people pay 80% of the people pay with PayPal. So it's like if you don't have PayPal on your store, you're not going to be able to sell to Germany. So it's a lot of information like that you need to know. If you have Klarna in a Scandinavian market, it's going to be better. But like Stripe and PayPal is enough. Usually 80% of people pay by card. So you don't even need PayPal I know a lot of people are banned from PayPal. So you can sell to this market with just like Stripe, the credit card. So my friend who was selling to Japan told me like just same Stripe and PayPal is enough. So yeah, but it's always better to do some research about the local payment processor and see if you have it, it's going to be better too.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, just one small thing I need to clarify for my own sake. So it sounds to me like, let's just say, for instance, I started selling to Japan. I would want to get a Japanese domain and basically like copy maybe as much of my website over as I can. No? Okay.
You need a Japanese domain. .com is enough.
Okay.
I always do .com or .co. And it works whatever the country is.
Okay, but I'm sorry. I'm just I'm not sure about this. You have to forgive me. But so if I'm still selling to Japan, I can translate everything over. Now, is it one website that will switch languages, or am I still putting up like a secondary website to service that particular area?
Secondary is better, because I tried like to have this one multilingual store, and it's a big mess. You can use the app Weglot for that. But it's a big mess, because then your email sequences is not translated, and like because Shopify is not so good with multilingual stuff, So it's better to have one store per country. Also, like when you launch on Facebook, one page, don't put all your eggs on the same basket. If you get banned, for you launch you have you sell product to 5 different countries on the same page or the same ad account, and if you get banned, then you lose all your market. So it's better to have one page, one ad account, and one website per country.
Yeah, that makes it makes a way more sense that way, because you also need to specify payment processors, specify language, and so the list of reasons to do it just goes on, and so it's important to keep that in mind. And for that matter, most of the design work is already done. Like if I were to start selling to Germany, I know what my website looks like. Most of that is taken care of. It's just about okay, and then also it seems prohibitive at first, but a lot of the logistics and payment processing. Of course, when most people say logistics, they just talk about shipping. When I say logistics, I think all backend, because that's just me. But once you figure that stuff out, you figure that stuff out for the first store. Now you understand that for any additional store that a person wants to run. So committing to a country it does take some extra research. So I would say, like, for me, I would think very carefully about which country I would want to market to. And then from there, the sky's the limit with how many stores I can potentially run.
And with this method, you need one product that is crushing it, and you can scale it like horizontally across like 5 different stores in 5 different countries. That's also the magic of this method. You don't need to, once the product die, you don't need to find another product. You just launch the same product that is proven to different markets and scale because it's not going to work on every market. Just scale like the one that are working, and if it's not, then it's okay, you test it.
And it's worth mentioning too, not that we, I try not to get too much into like, plugging territory, but it's Debutify. It's the Debutify theme that's been highly useful for your students as well. So you've been able to, it's the Debutify theme that you guys are firing up when setting up in other countries as well.
Yeah. So that's what I accepted to this podcast, because I really like Debutify. It's so simple to use, and that's the go-to term I say to my student, like, just go for Debutify. It's so good. You start with the free plan and you can upgrade later if you want. It's simple, it's clean, and it's basically you translate all the guarantee things that you have, by default on Debutify. That's what I love also on the team. It's like those guarantee things that you have on the footer, and you can translate them. And it's good because you can do either one product store, branded store, general store with Debutify. It's like very, very versatile. And I tell all my students to do it, and now they are all using Debutify.
Yeah, I didn't want to spend too much time just to get you to praise Debutify, but I also wanted to make sure that I got it in there just a little bit. So one other component to your business, I just also wanted to hear a little bit about, which is a digital flow. You have to forgive me if you've already mentioned it, but maybe you didn't call it the name. So is this an ad agency that you're running?
No, so basically it's just like when I opened my first company, I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to switch to an agency or something. And I wanted some kind of like fancy name. So I just came up with Digital Flow Agency. But in the end, I'm just doing e-com and having the course right now. And it's more like my personal brand name that is used. Rather than the name of the company. So it's like people know me as Florian Tep and not like Digital Flow Agency,
fair enough. So we're coming up on the final basically 10 minutes of this here episode, and I got to say the value has been immense, and so I'm just like my brain is just in absorption right now. So I checked out some of the content that you had written on Medium.com. There's some cool articles there that I would recommend people to check out. There's one I want to definitely make sure that we make time for, which is about morning routines. Now, I haven't done too many mindset questions lately, but morning routine is probably one of the most important elements to a person's day. If they don't have their mornings right, the whole day can fall apart. And I know this because I've even days where like I didn't quite wake up at my ideal time. It's exponential, and it messes up with the remainder of the day. So
exactly,
I'd love for you to let's start with the present, and we'll work our way backwards. So, what is your morning routine these days, and then how did we construct this over time?
So the first, something super important in the morning, if you have one, to me, it's like one of the biggest takeaway you can take from this podcast, even more than the technical share about the unsaturated markets. It's don't look at your phone first thing in the morning. Like, it's so life-changing that once I started to do it, because when you start to you wake up, you first thing you start to check your phone, your messages, and you start your day in your reactive mode. You're like, if you get some stressful messages from your team or from your family or whatever, and you also like use your brain to this boost of dopamine from the morning. Well, like usually if you want to get dopamine, you gotta put in the work, and you get like dopamine from the satisfaction of getting work done. And if you fill yourself with like dopamine right from the start, it's not gonna help you with productivity. It's gonna put you in reactive mode. So usually what I do is I don't watch my phone until like noon usually. So I do like my deep work in the morning. So my routine is like, so I get started, no phones. What you can do is that you can put your phone like your alarm or your phone, if you use the alarm on the phone, somewhere that you have to stand up to turn off the alarm so that you get started. And first thing I do is like cold shower because it wakes me up, like cold shower. I mean, in Bali it's not so cold, but like I was doing it in Europe when I was living there, like, during the winter. And trust me, it really puts you into like good mood because you do something that is super uncomfortable. The cold water wakes you up, and you feel good after. You're like, whoa, I did it. It was, so you accomplish like a hard task. I don't know if you read the book like Eat the Frog by Brian Tracy. Basically, it's like he says that if you start your day by eating a frog, then you cannot have, it's like you did the most difficult thing during the day, and the day cannot be worse than that. So that's the idea with this cold shower thing. And then from there, I like to do meditation, reading for like 10 minutes, just do some business. I like to read business books in the morning for like 10 minutes, meditation for like 10 to 20 minutes, depending on the day. And write journaling. So sometimes I journal in the morning, sometimes I journal in the evening, depending on if I have ideas, thoughts that I want to write down. And then I get started with my day. So super important to do like no notification, nothing, like deep work on the first. So most important task of the day, something that needs to like really need intense focus, because that's in the morning that you do most focus. And you work on this task for like 1 hour and a half, 2 hours, and then take some breaks. It's important to take breaks, and then do another like deep work session, for at least. So it's like you want to get done at least like 3 hours of deep work per day, because that's what's going to move the needle in your business. Once it's done, then you can feel like your day is like, you will feel like it's gonna be like noon, and you'll be like, shit, I did already so much, during my day. And then in the afternoon, I do more like easy shallow task and replying to messages, to email, to my team, and everything. That's what my day look like, basically.
And this didn't all happen all at once, which I think is one of the issues that I identified with myself, and that I picked up when I read the article, is that somebody who's like a total bum, they have no good habits whatsoever, and they wake up one day and they think they're going to be able to do all of this, and that's just not true. The reality of it is that you have to build this like one habit at a time, and
you want to do it small. For example, if you want to take the habit of meditation, don't put yourself too much pressure on doing like 10-20 minutes per day. Just say, okay, today I'm just gonna get 1 minute of meditation. I'm just gonna close my eyes, maybe like breathe 10 times like this, like inhale from the nose, exhale from the mouth for like 10 times, boom. And when you get started with the thing, maybe you're gonna be, okay, if I do just 1 minute, it's fine, I did what I need to do. But sometimes you will go like longer, and you feel happy about it. So you want to focus first on the consistency, and then on the habit in itself. So same for the cold shower. Like now I'm doing full cold shower, but you can do at first, okay, I'm just gonna like open the cold shower. So I'm just gonna get one spray for like maybe 5 seconds, and then I will like change it to the colder. So always find a way to minimize the habit as much as possible, so that you get consistent with it. And that's what I do. Is I also have a tracker where I have a daily tracker where I track like if I did my habits, how my day went, and everything. That's something I learned when I took a coaching with performance and productivity. And focus on consistency first, and then build a habit little by little until it becomes like second nature.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm passionate about this topic.
Yeah. I appreciate it a lot because there was a few things that weren't even like working out for me in the morning. And it's funny too, because just to tie the whole thing in full circle is that there's numerous similarities between this and, teaching somebody how to dance. Is that, you have to do these little habits little by little, and then over time they become second nature. Next thing you know, you're doing it naturally. Cold shower though, that's been a hard barrier to cross. I haven't. Yeah.
What habits are you struggling with right now?
Consistently getting up. What I try to do is I have my alarm at 8 a.m., but I try to have like a natural wake up. So I'm trying to like wake up naturally at 7 and use 8 a.m. as like as an alert to get up. And the hard part is just fighting the urge to cozy up in bed for a few more minutes. So I mean, there's other problems too, but that's the first one that I fight.
Do you have your alarm next to you, or?
No, I do have to get up out of bed to go, and I don't.
Okay.
It's on my phone. I have a product that I'm actually tempted to drop ship because it has this light thing that comes up, and so my phone. I turn my phone off at night, and I go put it somewhere in the other room, and I try to mix it up each time so that when I go in there, I'm like, where did I put my phone? Just to try to like minimize the chances before I end up turning it on.
Yeah, have you read Atomic Habits from James Clear?
Habits
the
from
book. Okay. Atomic Habits from James Clear. I think it's the best book you can read on the subject about building habits, breaking bad habits, and so good. So highly recommended to anyone who wants to increase their productivity.
Okay, well that's I wrote down everything that you had mentioned so far. So that's Eat the Frog and Habits, and yeah.
Cool. I will start with Atomic Habits. Yeah,
fascinating. Well, and I'm glad I brought this up because this is the person needs to be able to succeed. It's not just the methodology behind dropshipping. It's about the person and being able to pull it off. Yeah, exactly.
Identity. Yeah, I'm listening a lot to Sam Ovens in general. Also, super smart guy. He has a lot of podcasts and videos on YouTube. Super. Like every morning I start my day. Actually, I listen to a podcast of Sam Ovens. Even if I did already listen to it, sometimes I just listen to it again and just learn new things. So it's good stuff.
Well, with that, Florian, we're just about to come up on an hour, and I have to say this has been a fantastic episode. I've just, like I said, my brain is just soaking all of this in, and I'm hoping my audience gets to do that as well. So, before I do my wrap up question, there is one other question that I'd like to pitch you, which is you don't have to make like predictions. Some people don't feel good about making predictions, so no worries. But like, what would you like to see change or grow or evolve in the dropshipping space maybe in the next 2 to 5 years? Is there anything that kind of sticks out to you that you'd like to be like, I really like this to be different, or I think we can improve here in this area?
You mean in general? What needs to be changed
in dropshipping? Yeah,
a lot of scammers like that. That's why also like Facebook became so hard with everyone, is because like they ship the product. They sell the product, but they don't ship anything. So it's good. It's actually good that there's all these restrictions because it also filters the bad actors of the market. And yeah, like people focusing more on the quality of the product rather than just selling any shit. More professionalization on the industry, so that it's not perceived as something because the dropshipping is perceived like very badly outside of by the customers, by a lot of people, So
yeah, I agree with that. Because I'm coming in on a later wave of it, where a lot of these restrictions have already been imposed, and I do feel good about that because it brings it back to, this is at the end of the day, you're still running a business, and you have to have a brand, you have to have a mission, and so for that reason, sorry not to be mosquito watch. Is this still the mosquito?
Yeah, it was a mosquito. Yeah, it's not a mosquito.
Okay. I made my point though, which is like the harder it is, the more it brings it back to you have to run a legitimate operation, and that's kind of like my final word on that. And with that, so the wrap up question for you is, if there's any other advice or a Chinese proverb you like, anything along those lines, feel free to share it, and then let the audience know how they can get a hold, especially if they are French speaking.
So yeah, last advice I can tell is like, for people who are beginners, shiny object syndrome is I think it's the problem of most of the beginners. Like, don't try to find the magic pill, the secret that is gonna like make you rich overnight. Just find a good course. or someone that a good mentor, and follow exactly what he's saying. Hustle until you get results. It's gonna be hard. Shit is gonna hit the fan a lot. But if you have the mindset, you're determined, and you focus, super not focused, then you're gonna get results. There's no other way. And to find me, so you can find me on Instagram, Florian Tep, all attached, or just tap Florian Tep, TEP. And you're gonna find me on Instagram. If you have any questions after listening to this podcast, DM me. I receive a lot of DMs, but I'm trying to reply to everyone. And for the French people, so if you speak French, you can join my group on Facebook, Dropship Heroes. And I also have a YouTube channel. You can type Florian Tep, it's in French, and you can check my content there.
Okay, excellent. I honestly, as you said for the French speakers, I thought you were just gonna tell them in French and just the.
No, I mean, if they're listening to this podcast, they may understand English too,
Yeah,
and if, of course, some English people want to join my group or find me on Instagram too, like it's fine. They can follow me, and I'm happy to help.
Awesome. Well, with that, once more, you have my sincere thanks for your time and your knowledge, and to our audience, a big thank you to all of them as well for sharing in this and giving me the opportunity to be able to collect and provide this information, and also, be the difference you want to see in the world. Thank you to my team, to Angela, to Micah, for all the work they do to put this content together on the back end. I know I've done editing too, and we don't get thanked that much, and it kind of sucks. So I'm just trying to change that. So thanks, guys. It means a lot to know that you guys have my back. And with that, take care, and we will check in soon.
Yeah, it was a good problem to start on that, and because.
Hey, this is Joseph from Ecommerce. Just wanted to thank you for being here and for giving this content your time and attention. I hope you learned something. I can say with certainty, I have learned something with every episode that I have done, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. There's a couple things you can do to help us out. If you want to check out the audio content, we are available on all major podcast platform distributors. And while you're there, give us a 5-star review. It helps a lot. And while you're here on YouTube, there's a lot of things you can do to help out as well. It's not going to take very long. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button for this episode, and hit the notification bell so when we have new content for you, it's going to be at your doorstep ASAP. Lastly, this podcast is created by Debutify, the best Shopify template available. It is 100% free for you to start, and it can change your life. It can make you so much more free than you are right now. So if this episode wasn't enough to convince you, I think a few more might do the trick. So have at it.